Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Flick Your Bick podcast network here with Ben and Nick. Yes, I am back. Yes, my mouth works. Yes, it still kind of hurts, but that's okay. We fight through it for the pod. Nicholas, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a little bit warm today. It's one of those hot Iowan summer days today, beating down on me. But work was pretty nice. It was pretty easy. Flowed really, really well. I got out there. I mean, the best thing about when you do work is when you go to work and you get out and it feels like you weren't really there.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
yeah, I don't know when we all voted and decided we were just going to skip spring,
Yeah.
but
Well,
apparently
the thing about
I missed
Midwestern
that.
Springs is that it comes for a week and then it just goes away.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that myself. But anyway, you don't want to listen to us talk about the weather.
No.
It's so Midwest of us when we sit down
Quite
and we
so.
talking about
Quite
the weather. God, we are the stereotypes that people think we are. All right. So tonight, we just first off, again, I want to say thanks to Abby for filling in for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the last couple pods, she was awesome.
A pleasure to have her
Kind of
on.
makes me feel bad about my podcasting skills. She just jumped in for the first time and was better than I've ever been. So that was good, but also sad. But yeah, we're gonna probably have her back pretty often. She lives around us and has some hot
she-
takes and some really good experience, and just is a
She legit
cool
lives
cat.
in between us, literally.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, yes, that's very true. What, Nicholas? What are we flicking our bicks to this week? What do you have?
So I've been listening to a lot of lo-fi hip hop. Actually, I remember we talked a little bit about that in one of our previous podcasts. So basically, lo-fi hip hop is kind of hard to explain, but think of it like if you get like a hip hop beat, like a pretty standard low hip hop beat with a lot
A
of
fat beat.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, like a simple track of a loop of a hip hop beat. Most of them, or pretty much all of them, are like really slow and mellow and chill. And then layered on top of that is a lot of different instrumentations, mostly synth sounds, and it just makes a really cool, chill atmosphere. Sometimes they even transition to a little bit of the fusion genre where you can get a couple like horns in there, but mostly it's hip hop tracks. It's just really good things to listen to when you're studying, or if you're just wanting some background noise where you don't really care what is on, but you just want something to listen to. So I've been chilling out to a lot of the lo-fi hip hop.
Mine is not a song, but a certain thing in sports. So I, for a while now, I've been a big fan of the Washington Capitals,
Mhm.
and they are currently in the Stanley Cup Finals and are up 3-1. So they win one more game, they win the Stanley Cup, which is just, playoff hockey is just absolutely incredible. It's insanely competitive, super fast, and most of the games come down to the wire, and it's just insane. And background on my team, we have gotten knocked out by the Pittsburgh motherfucking Penguins every the last 5 years we've been knocked out by them, and just in brutal fashion. And it's just been super frustrating, and the city of Washington hasn't won a title in like 25 years. So it's been rough, and the Capitals were always the best beat. They always had really good teams in the regular season, but then would always lose to the Pittsburgh freaking Penguins in the playoffs. But this year, we freaking beat them, and we're going on a run, and it's just absolutely amazing. Our best player is Alexander Ovechkin, who's one of the best scorers, not only in the game now, but in one of the best in history. And the only thing missing from his resume was winning a Stanley Cup, and he's kind of getting up there in age now, and it's like, well, it's kind of now or never.
Yeah.
And just the run that the team's been on has just been awesome. It's been so much fun watching the games. That has been super satisfying. They play tomorrow, Thursday the 7th, game have to be game 5, and I just want them to win it. So because if it goes to a game 7, I will probably have a literal heart attack, and I can't handle it. So yeah, that has just been so much fun. throughout the whole playoffs, and that has brought me a lot of joy and a lot of happiness. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to my Washington Capitals, hashtag all caps, hashtag rock the red. Let's go. Go
Yeah,
Caps.
I was hoping the Minnesota Wilds were pretty good this year, but yeah, they're kind of meh this year.
Playoff hockey's amazing. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. I love it. Yeah, that has just been super fun. I've been running around streaming at the TV every couple of days watching hockey, so that's been great. All right, so today, we're just gonna do a little further of an introduction into me and Nick. I was talking with him. We realized through our couple of pods, it's interesting how people who don't know us would come into this and not really know where we're coming from on a lot of different things that we're going to be discussing. Don't really have any background on what we've been through in life, what we like as far as a lot of the entertainment stuff we're going to be talking about. So I think that's important, just to have a bit of a background on what we're like and what we're into. So we're going to go through just some quick questions here and fill in some of the gaps for you about us, and hopefully this will give you a bit of a lens to view our upcoming stuff through. That'll be clear for everybody.
It's gonna be
So
kind of a lightning round, but I'm just looking at a couple
yeah,
of these and thinking I could say this, but there's this other thing that I could add on to that. So
right.
we'll see how lightning it really
Yeah,
gets.
exactly. Yeah, if you couldn't tell already, we are prone to a tangent or two. But we will try to just go through these nice and hot. All right. So first, my first segment on here, I'm going to call it favorite face off.
Hmm.
Favorite face off.
Mm.
So first off, Nicholas, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? What type of genre? Already starting off
Just favorite.
horribly.
Damn it, Nicholas. Favorite movie. Come on.
Let's see. I've been, I'll just say that if you like this movie, then we're probably gonna get along. I am gonna put my vote in for Kung Pao Enter the Fist. If you've ever seen that, I don't think you've seen that one.
Give me a quick synopsis for everybody.
Yeah, that movie is a hilarious. Yeah, it's just great. It's just great. This is a lightning round, so I'm trying to keep it quick here.
Okay, cool. Mine is The Lion King. It was my favorite movie when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Still holds up. Shakespearean but approachable. Amazing movie, soundtrack, music. Can't go wrong with Lion King. Favorite TV show.
Oh, God dang it. That would probably be uh can I I'll just go uh, How I Met Your Mother. Not really a great one, but that's just the first one that comes to mind.
Can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. Mine would be The West Wing.
Mm,
Just incredibly well written. I love Aaron Sorkin. Kind of influenced me in what I'm wanting to do with my career.
mhm.
So that's good. Favorite video game.
Oh, now see here, boy. That's a tough question for me to
Oh
answer.
God,
I'll
that's the
just
point of the show.
Yeah, I'll just say, instead of just a specific game, because for me personally, that's way too hard. I'll just
You
say,
could do like a series. You could do a series.
uh,
Series is fine.
I'll just say my favorite genre of games are fighting games.
Yes, Nick is a really great fighting game player. Has played competitively. That's a whole. I'd like to do a podcast on that.
Oh
Teach
yeah,
everybody about that whole scene. Have
it's
some of our friends on. That
fascinating.
would be super interesting. Yeah, I see. I have no idea. I like Smash. That's about all I got on that. But for me, favorite game is also my first ever video game that I owned. That was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Hmm.
I played it with my mom because I was 7. I wasn't very good at it,
I
and
was
she had to
honestly
help me.
expecting you to say Uncharted, quite possibly.
Yeah, it's there, but I gotta go with the OG,
Sure,
the
sure, that's
first,
fair. That's
the
fair.
first one that got me into it.
Hmm.
Yeah, good stuff. Favorite superhero? I'll go first. Mine's Spider-Man. Um,
Acceptable.
just always liked him just because he was relatable. He was a dorky teenager who just was kind of caught up in everything, but also was really funny and wisecracky. Yep, always was my favorite pretty much from day one.
Hmm. Hmm. I'd probably have to say Iron Fist, and that's a weird pick. Definitely, I have my issues with the Netflix Iron Fist, but comic book Iron Fist I really, really like.
Yeah. That I fell asleep during the pilot episode
Yeah,
of Iron Fist, and I was
yeah.
like, okay, I guess I'm gonna skip this one.
I could
Um,
do an entire podcast talking about Iron Fist and the Netflix Iron
just
Fist.
rip that one a new one. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, next up, favorite book or book series?
Not a big reader, but honestly, if I were to say like off the cuff, there is this book I read when I was younger. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it's called a Samurai Shortstop. It was about a
Oh my god,
kid.
I know this book.
Do you know that book?
Roughly, yeah.
Do you know that book?
Kind of. I remember,
Okay.
like, I think I read it. Give me a quick synopsis. I think. Oh
Basically,
man,
it's this
hopefully we're talking about the same thing.
kid that goes to high school. School system is different in Japan, but he goes to high school, and he joins the baseball team, and it's kind of like almost like a ragtag Sandlot crew that he culminates together out of his classmates. Like he recruits like a sumo wrestler as the catcher and stuff. And it's set in like the I don't want to say the Edo period. That might be it, but it's like set in like I think the 1920s or somewhere around those olden days. So yeah, it's just about a bunch of boys and growing up playing baseball, and they had to like play the Americans and stuff. It's a pretty fun book.
Nice. It's not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of the like really stupid like kid book, but that sounds dope.
Yeah,
Okay,
I liked it.
awesome. Mine would be it's this book. It's called The Last Days of Summer. I can't remember the author for you to find, but you just Google Last Days of Summer, you'll see it. It's really interesting. It's about a kid in like the 1930s who idolizes this baseball player, and they meet through just an interesting circumstance. But the book is all like letters that people write to each other, like the characters write to each other back and forth,
Hmm.
or also it's like different like telegrams and stuff. It's all told through like written
Oh, that's
like
really
pieces
cool.
of communication, and it's just so on each page is like a different letter or different like telegraph or whatever telegram, whatever the hell it's called. Just a different one of those on each page, and through those you like get the story. It's really interesting and uh it's really emotional and just it's an incredible book. I highly recommend that one. Next up, your favorite band.
Favorite band? I'll just say Ninja Sex Party, I guess.
There you go. Okay. Dang, yeah, this is the one that I just had no clear answer to. So I'm gonna go with an oldie but a goodie. I'm gonna say Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah, yeah.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Favorite song.
I've been really digging Cheetah the Moment by Asia quite a bit recently.
Yes, it's a great one. Also a great uh album cover as well
Yeah.
on that. Very great. Also, my favorite song would be "Small Town" by John Mellencamp. Reminds me of home.
Yeah, I remember you saying that was your favorite song a while back.
It's a great tune. Nicholas, perhaps the hardest one I think it might be for you. Your favorite food.
Oh. Are we going like okay, I'll be broad again. I'll say it's a toss up between Italian food and South Korean barbecue.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. My favorite food would be just a steak, like a prime rib
Yeah.
or a nice medallion tenderloin, something just anything steak.
Can't beat the
I,
steak.
I sound like such a classic Midwestern. I like John Mellencamp and I like steak. Um how about beverage?
Beverage, huh?
Alcoholic or non, just favorite beverage.
Are we going alcoholic as well or non-alcoholic?
Either or.
Either or.
Yeah. Just top beverage.
I'll say Sprite. I fucking love Sprite. It's
Really?
so
Would not have guessed
it's
that.
so clean. Like no matter what, if I like Sprite's always at like a restaurant, and like if there's ever a point where like I don't know what I want to drink, Sprite is always just a good clean answer. It's so clean.
Does it have to be Sprite, or do you also like Sierra Mist, Seven Up,
Oh
like or
hell
just
no,
that
hell
family, or
no,
it's
hell
got to
no.
be
It's gotta be
Sprite?
Sprite. Sierra Mace's crap.
Wow. All right. Hot takes out here. Okay. My favorite beverage is whiskey. Um, whether that be a Scotch, a bourbon, even a Japanese whiskey. I had a couple of those recently. They're pretty
Oh,
nice.
really?
Just anything
Hmm.
in the whiskey family, give it to me, please.
Yeah, well, I am a man
Nick,
of
that has
refined whiskey tastes, so I like a
that's
good
right.
whiskey as well.
That's what I like to hear. Nick, that was favorite face off. We did okay,
Yeah,
I think. That
for
was all
lightning
right.
round, it was not too bad.
Not terrible. Okay. Well, now I've got a couple of just other questions here that are a little more serious, and we can go a little bit longer on. So
Yeah, yeah.
no need to rush through these guys. First off, Nicholas, what is your dream job?
I have a lot of dream jobs. I feel like growing up, I never really knew what I wanted to do as a career because everyone goes through high school like junior senior year, and you have to take that test where it's like you would be good for this job. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
I
that did not go well for me. I got like some sort of like random manual labor. I don't remember what it
hmm
was.
I just
I was like, oh,
yeah.
thanks.
I think mine was like communications, which that's already super broad.
Yeah, there you go.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, like for me, it's kind of weird because I kind of like doing all types of jobs. Like I enjoy manual labor. I think construction work sounds pretty neat, but I also think that being a doctor is also really neat, and I want to try that. But I definitely don't have the mental capacity to remember every medical term to be a doctor. So I'm ruling that out, but it'd be fun. But if I really had to narrow it down to like a couple, um, it probably would be like a voice actor or some kind of internet entertainer, which is kind of stereotypical for a millennial, I know, but I just like being creative and not necessarily entertaining people, but just I enjoy making content specifically for the internet. Mostly like I thought about like online journalism, but I kind of want to put a little bit more on myself than just doing journalism work. So yeah, I'd probably have to say voice acting or like online
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. The interesting thing about this question to me is, uh, it kind of reflects what you just like love to do because obviously you want your job to be like your favorite things to do.
Right.
And my favorite things to do are like eat good food, get a little drunk and watch sports. So that's not really a job. But again, I know like we've said before, we both grew up in the theater, and I think being an actor would be awesome. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I miss it. I miss acting. I miss singing a lot. But I also like know that I'm just not nearly talented enough to do that professionally. But that like dream job that would be awesome if in a different world when I did have that
See,
talent to get into that would be cool.
See, that's why I kind of picked voice acting. Not that I think being an actor would be pretty neat. However, if you're a voice actor, you can kind of do way more things. Like you, I remember a voice actor saying, "I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I became a voice actor. So then I could be a construction worker and a doctor." So that's kind of the appeal for that. Also for like, not to get too heavy immediately, but as an Asian American being in mainstream media has not always been prominent for my people, so that's always kind of hard to kind of get into. But voice acting, people don't have to see me, and I don't have to cater to a specific look.
That's true. But see, Nick, I'm vain and I want people to see me. So Um, also, I am a blonde, a Midwestern white male. We seem
Blonde
to have we've
hair,
got plenty
blue
of roles.
eyes.
There's a lot of roles I could get. I think we're uh still doing good out there. So yay, that's great. Yay for me. Oh man, yeah, that'd be another. I love how when we're doing a podcast, we think of other podcasts to do. Talking about the plight of the minority in the entertainment industry. That'd be interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But on a more realistic note, mine would be something in politics where I can influence policy, particularly um, in the environmental realm, environmental protection, conservation, that sort of thing. Also, in some sort of blend of law enforcement in the environment as well. I'd be interested in that. That's kind of what my degree and my work history is. So just get continue down that road
I
into something would be awesome.
I could see you as a park ranger. That'd be a pretty cool job.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. I would be all about that. And I can you can be outside and you're not behind a desk. That's important to me too. I could
Yeah,
never. I don't think I
yeah.
could do a standard nine to
There's
five situation.
there's kind of a horror thriller game that I know of. I think you played it maybe Firewatch.
Dude, that game is amazing. We should have a podcast about that.
Yeah, but putting aside like the horror suspense part of that game, just the beginning of it, you're just like a guy that's living in like a wilderness park, and you're just like in one of those towers that are just like in the middle of a wilderness park, and you just
Yeah,
for
the
the
Watchtower. Yeah,
beginning of the game, you just live up there. You just get to just see the sunrise along the horizon of trees. It's really pretty.
yeah. I don't want to get into it now, but just general, were you thumbs up or thumbs down on that game?
I thought it was really good. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's like oddly divisive. A lot of people didn't like the ending. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about an obscure video game that no one's played. That'll be a great podcast. What's the worst job you've ever had? This one wasn't super revealing. I just think it's a funny question. Everyone's
Well,
had a
I've only
job
had
that they
three
hate.
jobs in my entire three like actual jobs I'd consider. I'd probably say my last job, which was at Target. I was a part of the morning crew logistics team at Target, so that meant I had to get up at 3 in the morning, and then go into work at 4 in the morning. Which I'm a morning person. I can get up in the morning pretty easily. A crappy thing about that getting up at 3 in the morning is I had to go to bed at 7 p.m., which meant I couldn't do a damn thing with anyone or just do anything. That really sucked. The worst part about working at Target, at least at this particular store, management was just awful. Like nobody cared about their job. Nobody did what they were supposed to do. Most of the times when I go there in the morning, the morning crew that I worked with, we had to like take care of the closers because they were just too lazy to put away stuff, and that threw like us behind, and in turn that would throw like the people that worked there in when the store was open, that throw them behind because we were behind, and it just like piled on. It was just a shit show the entire time.
Yeah, dude, that mine it goes along with that as well. I worked at the Henry Dorley Zoo for a summer, which you would think would be like, oh my god, that's amazing. You work at the zoo. It was awful again because of the management. That's what I've learned in my various work experiences. That it all comes down to your like direct management.
That's
They
right.
make
That's
or
right.
break everything, and they were the worst. There was just no accountability. People just like wouldn't show up to work and they wouldn't care. Like
Hmm.
they just this girl like I didn't even quit that job officially. Like, I didn't go in like you're giving like your 2 weeks and stuff. I just like didn't show up. Like I was like, this is so stupid. Like no one, everyone's just like comes in whenever they want and like there's like no repercussions for it. So at the end of the summer, I was just like, peace out. It was awful. Oh, the only good thing about that, I did make a friend with one of the zookeepers, and he let me go and pet some giraffes, and that was awesome.
Yeah,
But that was not worth that summer.
I always wonder if that's kind of the same mentality that people that work at Disneyland or World or one of those places.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it ruins it. Like yeah, I don't really enjoy going to the zoo that much anymore because of that reason. It's gotten better. I mean that was a while ago, but still not great.
Hmm.
Not great at all. But shout out to the managers for my two current jobs. You guys are awesome, and that makes a huge difference. So appreciate that. Appreciate that. You
Yes.
know who you are. My next one. Who are your heroes?
Okay.
This could be like serious or like less serious, however you want to take it.
Serious? Okay. Well, the past podcast with me and Abby talking about traveling, I mentioned Dan Avedon as a hero. He's been a hero for me for about the past 5 years since I've watched him. So I'm gonna say something slightly different. I will say, growing up, Jackie Chan was a huge hero for me.
Dude,
I
hell yeah.
I grew up with a bunch of Jackie Chan movies, and it was really cool to have like a prominent Asian figure in my life that I looked up to and watched. I'm adopted, so both my parents are white. Everyone in the town is white, so that's whatever. But yeah, watching him, beating up the bad guy, being funny, slapstick comedy, getting the girl and everything. He really was a big inspiration and hero, even to this day. Mr. Chan.
Yeah, he's amazing. Speaking of that, Nick, do you want to tell everybody your slogan for when you ran for Homecoming
Oh
King?
yeah, it was. Oh shucks, it was. Oh, you're making me go down memory lane.
Oh, I know it if you want me to say it.
Go ahead, because I'm drawing a
As
blank.
as as your campaign manager, we went with Nick McHugh, breaking the racial
That's
barrier.
right. That's right. I do remember that.
That
The
was
other one,
great.
the original one I had thought for that was vote for Nick McHugh if you're not racist.
Yes, that also would have been good. Um, yeah, I don't know if they would have let us go with that
Yeah,
one,
probably
but
not.
God, that good memories, good memories, good memories. For me, um, my pop culture e-hero is 100% Harrison Ford. We've talked about that
Hmm.
before. Just the coolest, like just the coolest guy ever. But more seriously, and this is a boring answer for a lot of people, but it's my dad. He's just an amazing guy, great work ethic. He when I was a sophomore in high school, he battled through throat cancer while I was in school, and at the same time, still drove us around and like cooked. It was basically like stay at home dad, like while he had cancer, and that was insane. Like looking back at that, it was insane how he did that and uh, beat cancer at the same time, which is just wild. And yeah, he's just if I can grow up to be like him, I'll be more than pleased. So that would be my my heroes there. Nick, what is the best advice you've ever gotten?
Ooh, best advice I've ever gotten. Honestly, it might be a little bit shallow and maybe perhaps a bit self-centered, perhaps. Because I kind of thought of this myself, and then I kind of like mulled it over and thought about it, and it's kind of shaped my thought process and how I think about things. It was actually some dating advice that I kind of gave myself, which I kind of apply it to dating. Not that I do a whole lot of that now, but I'll back up a little bit. So, all the time, you'll like even in media, you'll see like people like a person says, how do I get this guy or girl to like me or notice me? And then you'll see his yucky friend just saying, oh well, you got to do this, you got to do that, and all these other advice that people would give about dating. Well, I kind of realized it that if you really take dating advice from someone else, then they're kind of telling you advice on how to date the person that they previously have dated or people that have worked for them, which is fine, but you're not trying to date their significant other. So that doesn't exactly apply to you.
Yeah,
So
that's a great point.
again, it's a cliche, but kind of just realized that in terms of dating, that you should just one, don't be a dickhead because that's pretty easy not to do. Like you know the basics of what to do on a date and everything like that, but the little nuances and stuff about personality and stuff, don't go for any of that. Just be yourself because if you're taking advice from someone else, you're trying to date who they are dating or married to. But if you're just you need to find someone that is gonna like you for you. And while that is like inherently dating advice, I kind of thought about that, and it's just kind of bled over into just everyday life. Just be yourself, because then you don't have to bullshit other people, and you people just see you the way you are, and that's kind of the best advice that I've ever heard, even if it was from me.
That's hilarious. Your best advice was one you gave yourself, but no, that's a great point, and that's why I always feel super uncomfortable when people like ask me for advice. It's
Right,
like,
right.
well, especially about dating, it's like, oh, Ben, you're in a relationship. What should I do? I'm like, well, mine is relationship is completely different, and I was a completely different person when I was single than you are.
Exactly.
I don't know. The only thing I can tell you is just like the basic stuff, like be yourself and don't be an asshole. Like that's universal, like you said. But outside of that, it's like, well, I don't know the person you are
Yeah, yeah.
pursuing. I don't know what they're into, what they like. Like, I'm sorry, there's no like magic formula. It's not like women are just like, hey, you say these words and they'll like
Right.
fall in love with you. Like that stuff is lame and kind of demeaning. Uh, Best advice I ever gotten is also interesting in the fact that I don't know what it means exactly, but I've tried to uh, glean some information from it. So my dad has always said, ever since I was a kid, he always said it tells people don't pet a burning cat. That is
Hmm.
it. He always There was like a phrase he always said, and I was always like, I don't really know what that means. But what I taken it as is there are situations in life that aren't great. Like whether it be a relationship or a job or whatever. It's like, hey, um, this for whatever reason, this is not a great situation. There's something wrong with it. Something with it uh, that is bad. Don't get involved in those things. Essentially, is kind of what I've taken it as. Is don't like taking on like lost causes or uh, putting yourself in a situation that's kind of doomed from the start. That's what I've always taken it as. And you might think, Ben, why didn't you just ask your dad what that means? I have, and he doesn't say anything. He just says it means what it means, and I'm like, okay, well, interesting.
Sounds like
But
you
yeah, that's what
got
I.
a Jedi Master as your father.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Um, God, yeah. So I always see that like you go in for if like for example if you're down downtown at a at a fine establishment of repute where adult beverages are being consumed and you see like a guy who's like like super drunk and like or your friends drunk and they're like kind of getting into an argument and stuff like don't like maybe try to break it up or something but like just don't get involved like just this is not going well just stay away from the situation. So in different situations in my life where I've been tempted to get into something or do something that is the equivalent of a burning cat, I've always thought of my dad's advice and said, "Hey, don't pet that." So yeah, I love both our advices. One is something you gave yourself, and two, me is something my dad said that I don't know what it means. So
Oh,
we're
well,
interesting
sometimes the
dudes.
best advice or just things you hear is just things that you really gotta contemplate. And
But
even
yeah,
on your deathbed,
that's a
you
great
may
point.
not know what it means, but
No,
even just
nobody.
mulling it over, you'll just that certain sayings will just stick out in your mind, and you'll just react differently, and that will reflect on how you act in the world.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So actually, speaking of advice, have you ever heard of the what's called a positive sandwich?
No, but it sounds delicious.
So you're about to witness it. So I have three remaining questions. Two of them are positive. One of them is negative or could be
Okay, I can
sad.
see it
So
now
what
on
we're
the
gonna do
TV.
is we're gonna go happy, sad, happy.
Okay, okay.
So it's positive sandwich. I don't remember where I learned that, but that maybe I should have said that for my best advice because I find it works well. You start good, you bring it down, but then you bring it right back up.
Right, right.
So first, the top bun of our happy sandwich here. What is your
Mm,
happiest memory? What
that's
is
a
the
tough
happiest memory
one.
you ever had? It doesn't have to
Uh,
be like something overly like specific. Just you remember, hey, this time I was just freaking so happy.
honestly, probably it's not really okay. Well, it's more of a moment in time.
Oh no, that's
It's
perfect. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, probably the happiest time in my life. Um, I'd maybe go and say senior year of high school, just because all of us friends were together and we saw each other every day, so that was pretty cool. But honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'll say the happiest moments in my life are kind of like I'd say probably the past like 6 months, I would say, of my life currently. Um,
Damn. Okay. Sweet.
in a certain degree. So let me explain. So um, it'll it'll kind of transition to the second part of the positive sandwich. But anyways, so definitely I've had to do a lot of growing and within the last 2 years. I've learned to kind of appreciate life for as it comes by, and I've had to do a lot of growing personally. And I am really, really happy with who I am right now, and I'm super looking forward to who I'm going to become in tomorrow, the next week, the next year, a couple years down the road. I'm just super excited about who I am going to be, what I'm gonna be like, and I just am just so excited for things to come. I think it really helped that I've kind of embraced being an adult for the longest time. I was kind of mopey like through college and like a couple years out of college just because I was kind of envious of I'll say like you and just everyone that went to college far away because I definitely felt that you guys had a different life experience. You guys were going somewhere with your life, and me still being in the same town that I've always been, I felt kind of stuck. Um, and I could talk about a whole nother podcast about that and more about that, but I'll keep it short. So yeah, therapy certainly helps too. I'd even recommend that if you don't have any problem, just go to therapy, just because it'll
Oh
really
my
teach
god,
you
yes.
just more about yourself. Because people say that nobody knows you more than you. That's not freaking true. I had no idea who I was.
It's
Um, and going through therapy really opened my eyes to a lot of things. Mostly therapy, I think the most interesting thing that helps people is the therapists, if they're good, they'll tell you why you think a certain way, or like what the how you got to a certain place, thought process wise, and physically and mentally, like how you think about things, and the way you are is this way because of your thought process. And they just a good therapist will like kind of give you a roadmap and theories about how you got to this way of process of thinking. And having someone tell you that from the outside makes you really reflect on how you think about things, and if you're willing to change for the better, which I'd say for the past 6 months, I really have made a huge effort on changing myself and improving myself. It does wonders for you. So the happiest moments or memories of my life are probably past 6 months currently.
that is the dream.
Hmm.
That your happiest moments are current. Like that's awesome. Mine is a lot simpler. My happiest memory would be so there's this one time I do a lot of like camping and hiking. I really enjoy it, but this was a couple years ago. I was just kind of in a rut and was kind of frustrated what was going on, and I just had this feelings that sometimes you just really got to get away. So one weekend, I just like canceled everything I had. Told my work I was I don't know like sick or something. I don't know, and took a solo hiking trip out to Wyoming and the Medicine Bow National Forest. It's just north of Laramie, Wyoming. If you've never been out there, it's absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend it. So I got to the campsite super late at night. Um, Set up my little tent, but by the light of the headlights on my car, and got it all set up. And it started to snow while I was trying to sleep, and it was really cold and terrible. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was laying in my in my sleeping bag, and I heard something like big, like rustling around outside, and I was as you might guess, pretty scared. So I was holding my knife like to my chest, just like hoping I wasn't about to get devoured by something. That was like the entire night. So that was really awful. But I got up, before the sun came up and hiked to the top of this mountain. It's like this little observation area they have up there. And from the top of this mountain, it's probably 12,000 feet, something like that. I like saw the sunrise like from the top of this mountain, like from like complete darkness to sun all the way up, and it was just the most incredible, unbelievable experience. If you've never uh, seen something like that, it's unbelievable. It makes you feel like super small,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's just an incredible moment. And I always think back about that. and remember that moment. So that would be my probably my happiest memory. A
Right,
little
right.
sad
Yeah,
that it was like I was by myself in the woods, but yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the first thing that I thought of. Also, the first
yeah.
time that I went down a ski run without falling, that was incredible. That was a great moment, and like skiing's one of my favorite things ever, so that was
Yeah,
cool as well. But
if you
yeah, that was great.
never like watch the sun rise or set, do yourself a favor and just take like Ben said, just cancel everything and just take a moment, just take everything in. Or sometimes what I like to do is just don't think of anything. And I also like to just don't think of anything, but at the same time, think of everything subconsciously. It kind of does crazy things to your mind, thinking outward. And also, uh, I've also realized that after embracing being an adult, that you can do like whatever you want, and you can follow your passions and do whatever you want to go after. And that's been quite a joy following my dreams and stuff.
Exactly, exactly. So here we got the middle of the of our little sandwich here. Nick, what's the hardest thing you've had to get through in your life?
So
This can be broad, specific,
right,
whatever.
so I'm gonna leave the hardest thing that I've had to get through just because it's a little too personal for me to share at
Nick, you
this
have to tell
moment.
everything on the podcast. That's the
Yeah,
point. You have to say everything.
I do realize that,
This is us.
but
We don't hide anything. Come on.
I'll maybe one day I'll talk about it. But I'll my number two contender is still pretty good. Probably the second hardest thing I've really had to get through, oddly enough, is the passing of my mom. She passed away 2 years ago from cancer. She went through. She originally had breast cancer. Then she got melanoma, skin cancer. Then she kind of got quote unquote cured of the breast cancer and the melanoma cancer. I forget what they call it, where like because cancer doesn't go away, but you don't have to worry about it for a time. Then the melanoma kind of came back, and she passed away in March of 2016. Oddly enough, I after I got the call that she passed away, since she was in a hospital in Iowa City, since they have a specialized cancer team there. After I got the call that she passed away, and my dad FaceTimed me, and I saw her body and everything in the hospital bed, I should say the hospice bed. I was pretty relieved. I don't know. I was going through a lot of stuff, but like a lot of stuff was happening to me, but I kind of pushed it aside mentally, and it was fine. Went through the viewing, funeral, whatever you want to call it, just fine. I didn't cry or anything. I had a huge meltdown before my mom died when we decided to put her into hospice. I don't remember when that was, like maybe a week or 2 weeks before she passed away, but um, yeah, after she passed and kind of everything started becoming a little bit more normal in my life, that was definitely a pretty hard thing to get through. Mostly because I think I took it upon myself to kind of shoulder everyone's burdens or thoughts around my family, and even with friends. I kind of just said, "Yeah, I'm okay" and stuff like that, which I was generally. But at the same time, I didn't really have any way to express that anguish or those feelings. So over after my mom died, like the next year and a half, definitely, I don't want to say struggled, but I definitely had some life realizing moments of turmoil that I came to realize, and it slowly. They say people bottle up their emotions. I kind of like I uncorked my bottle of emotions every now and then, silently, quietly to myself. And then therapy certainly helped too with that. But I think that so here's an interesting thing. I always thought that I would never I would never want to become a better person because my mom died. I didn't like that thought. I wanted to be just kind of. I kind of want. I had in my mind where I just wanted to be the same exact person even after my mom died. But that's kind of impossible to do, especially after an event like that. Especially going through therapy. Every now and then I catch myself going back and forth saying, "Am I a better person because my mom died? Because it forced me to push myself out of my boundaries and comfort zones and stuff." Yes and no. I'd say I definitely have changed because of this. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But I don't know. Just the lessons that I've learned after she died have been pretty eye opening, and still try to strive to be the same person. And although I don't like to admit it, I probably would not be in such a good place in my life if my mom had died, which is an awful thing to say. And I kind of second guess myself thinking about that, and I'm constantly thinking, wow, I'm a shitty person for thinking about that. But I don't know, it's just something that you can't really avoid.
No, like you things I forget I should have looked this up. I don't remember the name of the like who said this, but there's like three or four like different ways to grow as a person, and like pain and loss is like
Oh
the
yeah,
best one.
absolutely.
So like that's no, like that's totally reasonable to think like you're gonna change, and it's your job to make it hopefully it's a change for the better. And yeah, you need those moments uh to kind of kickstart you for something to happen to kind of shock you to your system to like grow and change as a person. So no,
Right.
that's totally understandable. Mine is in along the similar vein. Like I said before, my dad had cancer. I was like it was like freshman, sophomore year of high school, and yeah, that was super difficult. Just being afraid of someone someone you care about passing like that, and just like seeing him like my dad is a he grew up on a farm. He's like the super strong guy. He used to be a big like not bodybuilder, but was in great shape, and just seeing him like wither away in front of you is just like incredible. You grow up like your like my dad was like, like your dad is like your hero, and you think he's like invincible and like knows everything, and you like see that person like completely change and just like literally shrink in front of you is just wild. It gives you a whole different perspective on like how fragile life is,
Hmm.
and everything, and that was nuts at that age to go through. But yeah, it like you said though, like obviously positive things come from it. Like my family was way closer because of it. And I have a way bigger appreciation for like life and uh realization of how fragile everything is because of that. Because that again, that's what you need to you need the it's like you need the dark to appreciate the light, or however the hell that
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
No, I totally understand that. Finally, the bottom bun here. What is the hard transition? What is the hardest you've ever laughed?
You know, given the circumstances of my life and all the cards that I've been dealt, there's just honestly too many thoughts and too many moments of me laughing as hard as I've ever had.
I know that's really
Really?
hard. Let's make it easier. One of the times when we've been together,
Okay, okay, I could do that.
where we've laughed super hard. So I was thinking that too. I
Um,
was like, God, there's so many. Yeah, one where us together. The only thing I can think of, I can't think of a specific. Maybe this will help us jog it. I can't think of
sure.
anything specific. We've just had so many, just hilarious moments in the summer, and when we were doing theater shows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's just been so many stuff on stage, or my favorite was like we'd be in rehearsal and we would like change a line or do something just for the laughs
Oh,
and
sure.
like piss everybody off, and it's just so good. I can't think of a specific time, but whenever I just think about like hilarious moments and laughing hard is like hanging out with all of you, everyone, our whole crew. There was just so many like funny people in it,
Right.
and just messing around on stage and like backstage and stuff. Just the just the best. Those get me every time.
I
Just thinking about that in general. I can't even think of a specific thing at the top of my
yeah,
head.
there's just way too many.
I'm sure they'll come back later when we're done, and I'll get mad and I'll text you about them. But yeah, they're so good. That's just what I think of is just screwing around and at Mills Masters?
Sure. To narrow it down for me, I think I don't. Again, I don't remember specifics, but I think when our core group went to Colorado to go visit Kristen when she lived up there, I feel like we had a lot of good laps on the
Oh
day
yeah,
that we
oh
tried
yeah.
to find the hot springs. We eventually did find the hot springs. Just the
That day was a shit
yeah,
show. Yeah.
it was a fun adventure
Kristen's
through
like,
the
it
Colorado
was so
mountains.
fun, but Kristen was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go to these hot springs. They're just like right outside of town," and it was like 3 hours away. And we're like, "What? You have like
I
no
I
concept of time."
I remember a lot of lads coming when we actually found the hot springs and just chilling around. Like I think there's a couple good pictures of us, me, you, and Garrett cornering Kristen because we were gonna throw her into the river, and she looking pretty pissed.
Yes, that was good.
Hmm.
That was
Hmm.
good. God, I one thing now that I just you remember I don't remember how exactly where they were, but Jimmy was chaperoning the choir group
Oh, I know
somewhere.
where you're going with this.
You know where I'm going with this?
I know where you're going with this.
Patrick, he's dancing.
Dancing. Dancing. Oh, what are we gonna do? Good
Oh
moment. Good
god.
moment.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that is it, folks, for tonight's episode of the Flick Your Bick podcast with Ben and Nick. Find us on, obviously you found us on one of these places because you're listening to it right now, but we are on Twitter and YouTube right now. We are going to be looking into getting on iTunes and also maybe Spotify. So keep your ear out for that. Um, as always, we'd like you to share the podcast if you'd like. You know,
Yeah.
we're not doing it for the publicity or anything, but obviously we enjoy it when people listen and give us feedback. So please do that if you are so inclined. Anything else, Nick, people need to know about before we call it a night?
Like, comment, and subscribble, subscribble.
Like and like and subscribe, guys. Yeah, I feel like such a like basic YouTuber
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
that stuff.
I know, I know. You just gotta bury that deep down within yourself and just do it.
I know. I know. I haven't done it yet. I'll work on that. That's what I'll do tonight. Bury that part of me. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. Yeah, check out some of that hip hop that Nick was talking about and watch some hockey. Man,
Yeah.
it's super fun. Even if you're not a sports fan, it's crazy. People are hitting each other. The crowd's nuts. It's just a crazy cool atmosphere. So yeah. Till next time, guys. Thanks for
Bye
listening.
bye.